So we're now recording, and this is a tool, and we are going to, this is not usually the first presentation that we do on Manasa, but this one really does stand on its own, and so we can do that, and you don't need the context of material we've previously covered. So some of the points that are noted here, we're going to try to give you the Ayurvedic perspective on mind. You know, mind is not the brain. It's something that pervades through the body. It's we can say it's our seat of consciousness. And according to Ayurveda, it's present through Manovaha Shrotas. So we will study the flow of energy through nadis. We will talk about the chakras. We'll talk about the panchakoshas. And there are three doshas of the mind, which are sattva, tamas, and rajas. And we will also, in the manasa, we will talk about insomnia and mental disorders. So let's start by talking about the body. Now, the left side of the body is associated with feminine energy, and the right side is associated with male energy. We all have both masculine and feminine energies in varying proportions. So, you know, again, this is not something that we're not making a generalization based on your gender. And as you know, it's a, you know, kind of a controversial topic with some people nowadays, how you can actually have people who have different gender identities and changing gender identities. Well, you know, it's something that has been described in ancient literatures for thousands and thousands of years. There's a story in the Mahabharata. There was one warrior who fought in the Mahabharata war who was previously a woman who became a man. So this is something that has been described in ancient literatures for thousands of years. It's no shocker because we all have both masculine and feminine energies. I'm sure we've all known women who are very hard-driving, aggressive people, and we've also known men who are, you know, very kind of soft and passive about things. It is really an individual thing. And so according to Ayurveda, you have on the left side of the body, you have a feminine energy. On the right side, there's masculine energy. Someone may not be in touch with both sides, and that's going to be somewhat imbalanced. But we all have these, and the proportions vary. So, oh, sorry, that went too fast. So first of all, there is Sushumna Nadi. So Sushumna Nadi, Nadi means channel, okay? It's a channel for energetic flow, and it roughly follows the line of the spinal cord. It goes from the root chakra or the Mooladhara Chakra at the base of the spine to the crown chakra at the top of the head. Then there is the Pingala Nadi. Pingala Nadi begins from the root chakra or the Mooladhara, and it travels in a winding path like a serpent. It is associated with the right side of the body and masculine energy. Breathing exercises for Pingala Nadi are going to use the right nostril. And finally, there is Ida Nadi. Ida Nadi begins from the root chakra, just like Pingala, and it also travels in a winding path like a serpent. It's associated with the left side of the body and feminine energy. Breathing exercises for Ida Nadi use the left nostril. Now, if this looks somewhat like a caduceus, you know, the Greeks had a lot of contact with ancient India, and there are a lot of recognizable ideas in ancient Greek concepts of medicine, which nowadays are often dismissed as sort of a, you know, fanciful thing like talking about the three humors and so forth. I would have to say that I believe that the Greeks did not get, you know, everything right 100%, but they did get a lot of ideas from India. There was a lot of movement of ideas. And it's still a little hard to make the case historically for that, because historians tend to be somewhat slow to change their perspective, especially when it comes to challenging notions about the superiority of Western civilization. There's been a strong bias against, even the concept that there could be ancient civilizations that had a high degree of civilization. So anyway, this concept of having this straight path of the Sushumna Nadi and then these two winding serpent-like paths of Pingala and Ida Nadi, this is basically the essential concept here in the in understanding nadis. Now, these are three primary nadis. There are literally dozens of secondary nadis, but these also, Ida, Pingala, Sushumna, are also represented in the wrist. We are showing the main pathways going from Mooladhara to the crown chakra. Now, what's the next important thing? Look at the places where these intersect. Again, you can think about that picture. You've seen the picture, the medical symbol of the caduceus. It's a staff that has two serpents wound around it, and it looks just like this. But the places where these Pingala, Ida, Sushumna intersect, these nexi, these are major centers. These are intersections, and these are called chakras. The chakras are described extensively in yoga literature. They're even, it's even a theme in popular movies, except people usually say, I'm going to go get my chakras aligned. No, they're not chakras, they're chakras. Chakra, yes, that's how it's pronounced. So this is a very interesting connection, and there is a connection between these energetic pathways, the nadis, Sushumna, Pingala, Ida, the chakras, and also the flow of pran within the body. So let's look at the names. There is Mooladhara. Mooladhara is the root chakra. Let's see. Yeah, here we go. So Mooladhara is the root chakra. This is the one at the base, and this is associated with, all right, let's just start with the names first. So Mooladhara is the root chakra at the base of the spine. The Swadishtana Chakra is the next one up. So this is approximately in the area of our reproductive organs. Then there's the Manipura, the navel chakra. Anahata, the heart chakra. Vishuddha, the throat chakra. Agya chakra, which is approximately between the eyebrows, also called the third eye. And Sahasrara, or the crown chakra. Now, there's a connection of the chakras with the Panchamahabhutas. The Mooladhara, or root chakra, is associated with earth. The Swadishtana Chakra associated with water, the Manipura or navel chakra with fire, Anataha or heart chakra with air, Vishuddha or throat chakra with space. The Agya chakra and Sahasrara chakra are not associated with any of the Panchamahabhutas. They are more subtle in nature. Now let's talk about what this means and why it's it makes sense. So Mooladhara chakra, this is the place where we are grounded. If we are able to seat ourselves in this type of asana, in the Padmasana, and our Mooladhara chakra is in touch with the ground, we can be grounded. We can invoke the grounding potency of earth and ground ourselves. Water is associated with flow and movement and also with procreation, and that is the association of Swadhisthana Chakra. The Manipur or navel chakra, if we are able to invoke, if we are able to do breathing and breathe down to our navel, that is a type of pranayama exercise, and this is also a way that we can increase heat within the body. It is a subtle thing. Air is associated with the Anahata, the heart chakra. Now think about the importance of air. Air is all about movement and circulation. The circulation of blood by the heart, this is one of the most important types of circulation within the body. If blood flow is cut off, we basically die. It doesn't take long. It's a very important, it's one of the most important organs of the body. Important organs include heart, lungs, and liver. But the heart, if something goes wrong with the heart, it affects us very quickly. And that is the nature of air. Finally, space, the Vishuddha Chakra or throat chakra, is associated with our speech and with our ability to communicate. And that is why it is associated with space. So let us talk about the how the chakras relate to pran. So these are, nexi. They are the places of intersection, the meeting points for all of the energies that circulate in the body. And circulation of prana is the main mechanism by which consciousness permeates the body. Now, you might say, well, when I get my blood supply cut off, I am feeling a lack of sensation. Now, medical science has a different explanation for that, but we would say that when you are cutting off pran, when you cut off circulation, you are having a loss of consciousness. Partly, we have a sensation of inhabiting this body, and we have a perception of our consciousness permeating the body because of the circulation of pran. And pran, these nadis or channels, are in touch with all 5 of the major and all 5 secondary pranas. So there are the 5 prana, saman, vyana, udan, and apan, and then you have the secondary Deva, Datta, Dhananjaya, Krikara, Kuruma, and what is the 5th one? I have trouble remembering that. Anyway, these 5 primary and 5 secondary prans, they all have a connection with the chakras. So there is an interaction here. If you do pranayam, you will have an effect on the chakras. And if you have an effect on the chakras, you are also having an effect on the nadis, especially these 3 principal ones. And there are also yoga practices which focus on trying to manipulate the nadis, especially Kundalini. Kundalini is very focused on trying to manipulate the flow of energy in Sushumna Nadi. And it also will sometimes involve different practices which are meant to activate either the masculine or feminine or both. And they're trying to raise a type of powerful flow that forces consciousness to go higher, ultimately to exit. So these chakras also are associated with how the Atma or soul exits the body at the time of death. This is an important thing that's worth mentioning because it is dealt with more in yoga literature than in Ayurveda. But some yoga paths aim to try to force, and particularly Kundalini Yoga does this, it tries to force the Atma to leave the body through this crown chakra, because leaving the body through the crown chakra is a means of achieving mukti, of getting out of the cycle of birth and death. Leaving the body through the mouth is considered also an auspicious exit. One can also exit, the Atma can also exit through the rectum, and that is considered to be not an auspicious way to exit. So, for example, if someone is really obsessed with bodily pleasures and that's all that they think about, they may be exiting the human form of life and going down into animal species or worse. And then the Atma may exit the body through one of the lower gateways. So, but in short, these nadis, these channels, they are all in touch with the 5 major and 5 secondary pranas, and by pranayam, we also can have some effect. And the nadis also are used in Nadi Pariksha. Nadi Pariksha is diagnosis by sensing, the flow of the nadis, because all three of these nadis are also in the wrist. It's not shown in this diagram, but they also are present in the wrist. And we can also, in our 3 fingers that we use, we also have in our own body, we have a flow of the 3 nadis. So the Ayurvedic practitioner who is in good health, who is in balance, and who is also sensitive to the flow of these energies is able to sense the flow of the energies in another person's body. This is what Nadi Pariksha is. It is not something that is just done mechanically. It's not like just taking the pulse and reading, how many beats, but it is sensing the flow of these 3 nadis, or energetic pathways within the body. So pulse diagnosis, or Nadi Pariksha, this is sensing the state of these 3 channels. So these are also present in the fingertips and in the wrist, as mentioned previously. And the sensing is not done physically, it is done by feeling. So as Ayurvedic practitioners, we have to become very sensitized to the flow of energies within our own body. That's why an Ayurvedic practitioner has to adopt a very sattvic approach, a sattvic life, and to be have a very clean mind, a clean frame of mind to properly do diagnosis. We have to be in a balanced state ourselves and be in touch with the flow of energies within our own bodies in order to be able to do the diagnosis. So that's it. So this was, I know you've all have gone through a lot today. This is probably one of the shortest presentations that we had in Manasa, and it really exists kind of as a standalone, and it's not dependent on any other preceding presentations. So any questions before I close? I believe that's the last thing. And then I'll see if Monica has any final assignments or anything like that. Okay, so I'm just going to pause the recording.